Inflation, it's hard to stay in front of it. Now with the collapsing ag world, the poor trade deficit, we need to balance this stuff. We have to get back to where we were.
You supported Trump in 2016. In 2020, you would do it again.
Without a doubt. I say I'm fiscally conservative, but I tend to be a little liberal when it comes to humans. But it goes back to we can't help everyone if we don't have a strong economy.
I think it's an easy Trump choice because we have to put the American people first. I think that the policies that have been put in place in the Harris-Biden administration, they hurt this. They hurt our land, and they hurt the people in Middle America the most.
Ebersole supported Nikki Haley in the Iowa caucuses, a rare voice of Republican dissent in conservative Ringgold County. She then gave some thought to voting third party because she cringes sometimes at Trump's combative tone. But her family and her farm come first, and Ebersole sees backing Trump as the best path to reverse democratic trade and climate policies, she says, punish family farmers and fill supermarkets with foreign beef.
I can tell you that that cow right there is better at carbon sequestration than anything else on the face of the earth. And when she does it, she turns it into the most nutritious meat that we could ever offer. When cattle are raised the right way, they help the earth. They don't hurt the earth.
And Washington doesn't understand that.
They don't at all. They don't live here, you know.
They don't ask.
They don't.
That Sarcone plans to vote for Trump is a big change. She backed Haley in the caucuses, and when we first met a year ago,
what about browning caramel?
Sarcone said she would vote for Biden if 2024 ended up as a 2020 rematch. But grocery prices are still high, she says, and her real estate business is slow.
I would describe myself as being resigned, I suppose, to voting for Donald Trump. Again, I can't vote for the status quo. And I was absolutely better off during Donald Trump's presidency than I am today.
Right, I say Kamala Harris, you say?
I'd say far left. I'd say woke. I'd say sidestepping. I'd say not truthful.
Not truthful. That says a lot. That pretty much says it all. Well, welcome to today's early show. We've got an early show here today at 2:30. Trump is speaking. Now, just want to let you know, in case you haven't heard, this is not a typical Trump speech. This is going to be, well, actually, it is a typical Trump speech. It's not a Trump rally. He is speaking specifically on the economy. That's why I led with those videos were specifically about the economy, talking about what's going on in America, in the heartland, with real people experiencing real problems. I have no idea what carbon sequestration means, but I'm pretty sure I would believe her, that cowgirl, over anybody in Washington when she's talking about how cows emit certain gases. I'm pretty sure she really knows, and our bureaucrats don't know crap. So I'm gonna go with her and leave it at that. So today is the first day of the DNC, and who knows what's going to happen. I may go live tonight for the Biden speech. I just wonder if I can stomach it for 25 or 30 minutes. It just drives me crazy. But today, right now, this is all about the American economy. And Trump is going to begin speaking about it. And I've got a few cuts here that I want to talk to you guys about. This one here, it's pretty interesting. This is a group of, starts off with some grocery people. Some people own grocery stores. And they're talking about, you know, the impact of her insanity in terms of wanting to have price controls on food. Just to let you know, I am monitoring the screen. He's due to come up at 3 o'clock, so we got plenty of time. We're not going to miss anything there. But let's take a listen to this stuff here. I think you're going to find it pretty interesting. If I can get it queued up where it's supposed to be. And right now it is. All right, let's go.
You've been in the grocery game. When you heard about Harris's idea to fix prices and to stop price gouging, what went through your head?
I just thought she was trying to throw things against the wall to see what's going to stick. And they can't really squeeze too much more between that and then the minimum wage hikes that we get. Nothing else. It can't go.
You were talking to me about the different factors that go into changing prices in the grocery store. What have you been seeing? I know eggs have been a hot topic throughout the past few years that have contributed to this that she's not really looking at when creating this plan.
Exactly. I mean, you have to be able to raise and lower prices as they come in. I mean, the eggs go up and down maybe every week. And like we said, we had the commodity eggs that came in, and there's, because of the avian flu, there's no supply. So actually the farm-raised eggs are almost at that price level now for selling. We can adjust that. If you have fixed prices, what do? And the government's going to come in and say, you're out of line, they write a fine. You can't do it like that. So you have to, as a grocer, you have to be able to adjust daily.
Thank you, Barb. Good to see you.
Hi, my name is Ishan Khan.
My name is Carlos Collado from Fine Fair Supermarket.
I live in Staten Island, and over 24 years, I own a grocery store, retail grocery store in Brooklyn. And during this 24 years, I never saw the cost of grocery, bread, butter, cookie, milk going up during the administration of Biden and Harris.
See those shelves back there? We're trying to keep less inventory because it's expensive after the inflation under your vice presidency. Now I go through the store. Yes, we have to have merchandise here for our customers. But if you only knew how this works, and I invite you to come down, we can have you help us enter the invoices into QuickBooks, since you claim that we are price gouging.
So, for example, I'll give you an example. You see this Oreo cookie? I love Oreo cookie. I used to sell it for, my cost used to be $1.50. I used to sell it for $2.99. Right now, this cookie, I'm selling it for $7. Why? Because my cost is for over $4. And look, I have only 2 pieces. I used to order cases and cases because the cost of groceries is so much high, I can't afford it.
You can come down. Come on, we'll show you. Here, okay? You see those little price tags there and signs? Okay, those we try to keep as minimal as possible. I can show you an item where just yesterday it had gone up, and if we were to use our industry standard price system, it would have to have gone up about 25, 30, or 40 cents, and we decided to just increase it 15 cents.
I'm requesting to people that please don't vote for these people. They are bad news. I mean, Biden, what he did, he's in the corridor of power 45 years. What he accomplished? And the money that they are throwing in Ukraine war and this and that, and Trump said that the moment I get in, I'm going to stop the war. So that money should come to our economy. That money should go to our school and hospital. So we deserve that money. So please, this is Harris, and Kamala Harris is a bad news. She was a prosecutor in California. If you guys don't believe me, just Google it and find out over there what she did over there. You know what I mean? So please stay away from them. Bad news for America. This country is great, and we can make it great again.
Okay? Because our customers are very price sensitive. If you didn't understand that, I can tell you that we will lose our customers if that were to be the case. But if you like, you can come down and we can discuss further.
But the price gouging.
All right, so those were a couple groceries. She says she wants to go after the big, the conglomerates, but these are the people who are going to get hurt by her campaign, by her policies of going after price gouging as if that exists. And I see so many nuts on Twitter/X, I'll just call it X from now on X, who talk about the big, mean millions and gazillions that people are making, and they have no clue. They have no clue about how the economy actually works. But what's worse is we have a person running right now for the presidency, and she has no clue of how the economy works. When you sit back and you look at both Dementia Joe and you also look at Kamala, you can look at two people. He had 40 or 50 years in politics. She's been between being a prosecutor in California and a vice president. She's had a number of years in politics. Neither one of them have done anything business-wise. That's why I cannot fathom how people continue to put these people in office who don't have any clue how business works. They've never had to put an inventory sheet together. Never had to buy anything to put inventory together. Never had to negotiate with drivers and the employees. She's never done anything. And she doesn't know what she's talking about. And yet I see these videos on X where people are like, well, she's a woman. Today, Wonder Woman, Linda, whatever her name is, she's like, it's going to be so fantastic to have a woman as president. If you're voting on somebody solely because of what they have or don't have between their legs, you're an imbecile. If you're voting on someone because of, or not because of, how much pigmentation they have in their skin, you're an imbecile. I have no problem saying it. Those two criteria don't mean anything in any way, in any walk of life. I don't care if a pitcher can throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. That's the guy I'm going to look at. Don't care if he's white, black, or Hispanic. Same thing in football and basketball. I know WNBA is having all kinds of problems because they can't deal with Caitlin Clark being who she is and how good she is because she's a white girl who's basically taken over this black LGBTQ plus whatever sport. They can't deal with it. Can't deal with it at all. And so this guy here, David Brooks, I think he used to be a conservative, but he's on a talk show with one of the guys on MSNBC. And I love what he says about Kamala right here, or rather, not about her. Yeah, it is about her.
Well, Catherine Rampell, the Washington Post columnist and NewsHour contributor, said it's impossible to exaggerate how bad this policy is. And I agree with that. And Catherine had a good line that if your opponent is calling you a communist, maybe don't lead with price controls. And so price controls just create shortages. They create black markets. We've seen it happen in Venezuela. We've seen it happen in the Soviet Union. Price controls just don't work.
It amazes me because so many economists and financial journalists and just regular people know history. You've looked into history. Those of us have lived history. As I mentioned in one of my past shows, I know a lot of people from Cuba and Haiti who came from those kind of countries. So if so many people know that what she said is complete idiocy, who are the nuts that are telling her, yeah, this is good policy, this makes a lot of sense? Because so many people know it's just complete hogwash.
What's worse about that, first, it's trying to address a problem that does not exist. Grocery prices, inflation has been less than 1% for the past year. It's over. We had a surge, but it's over. The problem does not exist. But the real core problem is it expresses a level of economic illiteracy, which is kind of surprising in a...
There are a lot of names you can call a politician. We can call Trump the Orange Man. We can call him the felon. But the last thing I would want associated with my name running for a political office is being illiterate. You know, the other stuff, oh, he's a felon, he's a racist, oh, he's a womanizer, he's this, he's that. I don't think anyone's called Donald Trump illiterate, especially not a financial illiterate. You've got someone on a national television show telling Kamala Harris, basically straight to her face, you are a financial illiterate. You can't get lower than that. It means you know nothing about the economy. Nothing. You're illiterate. You don't know. And this guy just called her out on national television.
Responsible Democratic candidate. The idea behind greedflation is that we had all these years of low inflation under Obama and under Bush's, and I guess people weren't greedy then. And then Biden gets in, and suddenly, magically, they all get greedy and start price gouging. And they do it at Kroger's, at Harris Teeter, at H-E-B. Suddenly there's this mass of price gouging, and she thinks she can prosecute it. That's not why inflation surged. Inflation surged because we had a pandemic, which screwed up supply chains and productivity. Then the Biden administration overstimulated the economy, too many dollars chasing too few goods.
So basically what you're saying is they screwed up. No other answer. They screwed the pooch. And they're trying to blame it on everything else.
Obama administration officials Larry Summer and Jason Furman said at the time this is going to cause inflation. Lo and behold, it did. The Fed has to clamp down on growth, raising everybody's interest payments. That's what causes inflation. That's solid, basic economics. Her greedflation.
Basic. It's amazing me when you see these people on CNN and MSNBC and they have this perturbed look like, you shouldn't be saying these things. It's basic. It's economics 101. It's your first class you take in college. It's the first one you check off the box. It's economics 101. And these people flunked that class.
Plan is somewhere off outside of normal economics.
What about that, Jonathan? That the Harris policy, parts of it at least, speak to an economic illiteracy?
Here's what I think the right message is and why I expect that the Trump message is going to be more appealing when you look at it closely, which is, where does growth come from? Growth can come from a couple of things. Mm-hmm. Energy. If we have lower energy costs, that's going to reduce the impact on consumers. It's also going to foster growth. If we continue to be tech leaders, when we're tech leaders, we get the benefit of growth around the globe. We only have 360 million people. There's 8 billion people in the world. When they get hooked in to a digital economy, we all benefit greatly. Capital allocation. We're better at allocating capital than anybody else in the world. 4% of the world population, we allocate over 50% of the world's capital. Focus on those things and competence in government. That's how you get real growth. That's how you get real wage growth for the people in the middle 80% of the economy. Yeah. This idea that you're going to go out and sort of say some prices are good and some prices are bad, right. It's lunacy.
But financial illiteracy and lunacy. 2 words I would never want associated with me, and I specifically don't want them associated with a presidential candidate. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. It's funny, I got a comment here, and it's by Judson. Let me make sure. Where'd it go? Where Judson's, are they not working? Let me just make sure. He must have taken off. Anyway, Judson had said something that basically said it's on purpose. It's something that people know that they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to destroy America. It's absolutely clueless. Drill baby drill. Oh, this drill is my wife just walked in and it scared me. This drill baby drill is something that would stimulate the economy. I don't know why they're not doing it, but they are not doing it. Actually, we don't know what they're doing. We don't know what they're doing whatsoever because they won't tell us what they're doing. And now what you're going to see is a turtle head effect. She's going to pull the turtle head back because now she screwed up and said something. And now they're going to have to go ahead and change it and walk it back. But what are they going to walk it back to? They don't know. They don't have anything to walk it back to. Now what they're going to do is just basically close ranks and say, well, that didn't work out. We're not going to tell you anything. I saw this cut, and I'm like, you have got to be kidding me.
President Harris has been incredibly brave to roll out an ambitious economic agenda because we all know how this works. The more details you share, the more your policies are going to get picked apart. But
Isn't that what's supposed to happen? Wait a second. This guy's upset. He's a little light in the shoes. And he's worried about Kamala Harris telling everybody what she's going to do, because if you tell people what you're going to do, then they might tear it apart. That's specifically what you're supposed to do as a candidate. You're supposed to tell us what you're going to do. How else are we supposed to vote if you don't tell us what you're going to do? Well, if we tell people, they might decide they don't like it, then they might not vote for her. Well, that's the problem. And this guy is telling out there, maybe we shouldn't tell you what we're going to do.
He's saying, I trust the American people. I trust the journalists to explain these policies and our values to folks. And
why are you waiting on journalists to explain it? Why can't she explain it herself? This is where they're going to head with this campaign. She's going to do her speech on Thursday at the DNC, say whatever she wants off the teleprompter. It's going to be flowing, unicorns and fairies. But what are you going to do? No, we're not going to tell you. We're just not going to tell you what we're going to do. Too bad.
I think when that happens, it will be successful for Democrats. These are very pro-worker, pro-middle-class policies that people have been waiting for. Meanwhile, Trump is running on these side deals and backdoor agreements with his billionaire friends to, oppress the working class further and enrich them further. So I think it's not an appealing message on the Republican side.
How embarrassing is that? That you go on a television show, first of all, you can't defend your policies, and you can't defend it so bad that you say to everybody, now we're not going to tell you anything. You're not even going to know. We'll let you know after we get elected. Said who? Whoever would run a campaign, whoever would vote for somebody like that. Hey, we're not going to tell you. Silly people. That's Monday's news. Monday's news now, after yesterday, is we are no longer going to tell you what we're going to do. You're going to have to vote for us. Just like Nancy said, we have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. And stupidly, the Republicans, participated in that, and they passed the bill, and oh, Lord, did we find out what was in it. So now you're telling us that worked with the bill. Now let's go ahead and do it with the presidency. Elect me, and then I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Because I tried to tell you what I was going to do, but I screwed that up really bad. And this all happened in the last 24 hours. And it happened because nutbag Kamala went out and did this. And you've probably seen it before, but now you see I just showed you the result of what this clip has caused. You see, after she completely fumbled this, they're like, wait a second. Whew, okay, done. We tried that. We're not going to let you answer any questions. You're functional illiterate. You're a lunatic. We know you don't know what you're talking about. So we're going to pull back and tell people, yeah, you get nothing. You're going to be the Willy Wonka of presidential candidates. You get nothing, sir. You're not going to tell me what you're running on? Nope, not going to do it. You're not going to lay out? Nope, not going to. Why? Because this happened. And when this happened, everybody realized that's it.
We know that there's a great return on investment. When we increase home ownership in America, what that means in terms of increasing the tax base, not to mention property tax base.
Look at Tim Walsh's face in the back. Look at her husband looking down. They know. She was asked, how are you going to pay for this? All this stuff you're talking about, how are you going to pay for it? And she just, well, I'll let you listen.
That does to fund schools. Again, return on investment. I think it's a mistake for any person who talks about public policy to not critically evaluate how you measure the return on investment. When you are strengthening neighborhoods, strengthening communities, and in particular the economy of those communities, and investing in a broad-based economy, everybody benefits, and it pays for itself in that way.
It pays for itself. So, I don't know about you. I've done some investing. I understand how to do some investing. It's been a part of what I've done with Robin for quite some time, whether it's real estate or otherwise. But in order to invest, you have to have the money to invest. And most of the time, it's your money. And so you can basically weigh the risks of what's going on versus what's working, what's not working, how you want to hedge, different things you want to do with your money. And she doesn't know any of that. You can't even calculate a return on investment when you're not investing. You see, when you take money from somebody else, most of the time, it's called a loan. Or you get an investor. An investor gives you the money. The federal government doesn't make any money. They don't have any revenue, even though they like to call taxes revenue. You don't have anything. You're at the liberty of being able to steal our money and do whatever you want with it. And so because you don't have any functioning business, you can't possibly have a return on investment. If you did have a return on investment, it gets paid to your shareholders, not to you. So are you going to propose, Ms. Harris, that you're going to do something that's going to allow all of us to prosper? We're going to get dividend checks, right? Is that what you're saying? Because it's a return on investment. You don't make any money. You don't even know what you're talking about. Man, as I've told you before Trump comes on, you guys need to really understand where we are. Gold just struck a high point, and it's a high point because of the uncertainty in this market. Don't worry about the stock market. That's going to go up and down because people are profit taking and positioning themselves. But you, me, and many people need to be protective of our money at this point, because this woman doesn't know what she's doing, and God help us all if she gets elected. I mean, we're toast. You know that inflation is still on the rise all across America, and our dollar is being devalued more and more every single day by the Federal Reserve and their massive money printing schemes. So you have to ask yourself, are my investments really safe? I doubt it. Listen to this. Government debt is growing at the rate of $1 trillion every 100 days. Since 2020, every dollar in your wallet has lost 24% of its purchasing power. And in just the last 18 months, what you need to survive as a family, your groceries, your necessities, have gone up by $11,000 per family. These are unsustainable and outrageous numbers. That's why I'm recommending that you call my friends at Lear Capital. They'll show you how easy it is to move some of your assets into gold and silver. You know, assets that are growing in value instead of keeping them in a dollar, which is declining in value. And as we approach the election, and with all the volatility in the world, now is the time to take some action. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. When you go to Lear, you'll be able to download a de-dollarization guide. It will show you specifically how your dollar is deflating every single year. There's no obligation, it's just free information. You'll learn how to protect your hard-earned money with gold and silver. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. Call Lear at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you give them a call, ask how you can get $15,000 in bonus gold with a qualifying purchase. So some of you may think, hey, listen, this is just Barry running a commercial. No, it's a lot more than that. I have faith in the people who watch this show, and I want to make sure you guys are taken care of. I want to show you this. This is the gold price over the last 12 months. I don't know if you can see that number, but over the last 12 months, gold has gone up 32%. Think about that, 32% in the past year. Real estate hasn't gone up 32%. There's not a whole lot of things you could do that things would have gone up 32%. And then if you look at this chart, you can see as of today, it's at 2542.60, which is an all-time high. It's at its highest point right now, gold is. You can see the graph from since basically October of 23, it's been shooting right up. So it's crazy. I'm going to have to cut to the show right now because Trump, I don't know if it's music or what, but he's basically at the microphone. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, it's the music. It's the music. I didn't realize he would play that, at today's show. But because there's nobody there to clap or anything, these are people who are just going to talk about the economy. So let's listen in as soon as the music stops, and we'll be able to get to it. It's still playing. You can tell when it's playing because he's still sitting there. And I'm interested myself to see how he's going to basically talk today. If he's going to be pumped up, is he going to be demure? How is it going to be? Let's check this out. Okay. All right, it's done. Let's listen into Donald Trump.
Thank you very much. That's beautiful. This is quite a place. It's an honor to be here at Precision Custom Components, a company that has helped to build and defend America for over one.
Let me know if the volume is okay, please.
An extraordinary achievement. I want to thank you, President Gary Butler, and the members of the wonderful Butler family, and members of Congress, Scott Perry and G.T. Thompson. You're here someplace in this very big factory, wherever you may be, there you are. Great people, great warriors, I will tell you. My trade representative, Ambassador Robert Lighthizer, who's fantastic at a thing called trade. We did very well at trade. and you were fantastic, and I want to thank you, Bob, very much. And Chair of the York County Commissioners, Julie Wheeler. Thank you, Julie, very much. Thank you. And a very special congratulations to all of the people of York County today who are celebrating the 275th anniversary of York County's founding. That's pretty good, huh? That beats most of them out there. But most of all, let me thank the exceptionally skilled and talented workers with us in this room. I know you well. I know them from all over the country. They come, and they are the most talented people and the most brilliant people in so many respects. So thank you all very much for being here. We appreciate it. Thank you. For generations, the handiwork of precision custom components has strengthened the spine of America. Your products have gone into the Hoover Dam and atomic energy plants, nuclear submarines, and they currently are doing a lot of work. I'm here today to deliver a simple message. When I'm back in the White House, America's future will be built right here in Pennsylvania. And it will be built by American workers like you. It'll be all over the country we'll be building, but Pennsylvania is always a big factor. And we've had great success, as you know, politically and otherwise in Pennsylvania. And we expect to have it again. We're doing very well here. Thank you very much. With your vote, we will unleash explosive economic growth and vast new prosperity for all of our citizens. We will put more money into your pockets and create millions and millions of new jobs. We're going to do it like nobody else has ever been able to do it. Our plan will massively cut taxes, unlock American energy, slash regulations, big factor, crack down on trade cheaters and stop outsourcing, rebuild our industrial base and bring back those beautiful words, made in the USA.
Thank you, Emac. Thank you very much.
And we were doing that 4 years ago and starting to do really well. And then we had to stop for an unknown reason. Together we will reclaim our nation's destiny as the #1 manufacturing superpower in the world. We will do it. And China won't even be close. Nobody will be. We had that going at a level that nobody's seen before, and we're going to have it going again even better. And this firm and this people standing behind me and in front of me will be a big factor. Every policy in Kamala Harris's radical liberal playbook sends jobs and wealth to other countries. The jobs go to other countries, and the wealth goes to other countries. Every policy in the Trump agenda is designed to bring the jobs and wealth back home to America, where it belongs and where it's going to stay. Kamala puts America last. I put America first. Some facts that are interesting. The year before I took office, the United States lost over 10,000 manufacturing jobs. Everybody said you'd never bring it back. But under my leadership, we created more than 500,000 manufacturing jobs in less than 3 years. After decades of wage stagnation and income surged, we had a surge like nobody's ever seen before. But it surged for everybody during the Trump administration. Every group, everybody, men, women. We had every household was at a level that they've never really experienced before. The typical American household saw their incomes grow by more than $4,200 per year. Everyone was better off when you had a gentleman named President Donald J. Trump at the helm. Does anybody know him? Whoever he may be. I kept every single promise I made to the workers of Pennsylvania and to every other place within our country. On day one, I withdrew from the unfair job-killing Trans-Pacific Partnership, and if I didn't do that, you wouldn't be open right now. You wouldn't have a job. That was a big thing. It was approved by another president. It would have destroyed our manufacturing in this country still further. I imposed historic tariffs on foreign aluminum and foreign steel and numerous other things that were unfair to our country and unfair to our workers. I ended the total disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made by this country, and replaced it with the brand new USMCA, that's Mexico and Canada, the best trade deal ever made by our country. Although I will tell you that I think the deal with China was probably even better. They had to buy $50 billion worth of our product, but after COVID, I don't even talk about that anymore. $50 billion they had to buy, and they were buying it too. And I stood up to China like never before, bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars when no other president had gotten literally 10 cents from China. I brought in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. It never happened before. Nobody else literally got 10 cents. We passed the largest tax cuts in history, the largest regulation cuts in history, and built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We were at a level that nobody had ever seen before. And now we're going to do it again, but we're going to do it even bigger, better, stronger, and smarter. When I left office, I handed Kamala and crooked Joe Biden a surging economy with no inflation. You had no inflation. You had everything was good. Great wages, no inflation. Now you have inflation at levels that I don't believe anyone's ever seen before. The 30-year mortgage rate was 2.6%, but it was actually closer to 1.9 if you look at it the way that most people look at it. And gasoline had reached and was basically at levels of $1.87 a gallon, but we had months and moments where it was even less than that. Wouldn't that be nice? $1.87, Gary. That would be very nice. The family likes it more than Gary. Gary's been around too long. The family likes it more. Our economic future had never looked brighter when Kamala and Biden came in. They quickly blew it all up, destroyed. 350,000 Americans joined the unemployment rolls last month. Did you know that? I keep hearing about their economy. Their economy's terrible. And the inflation is eating everybody alive, and it's been doing that for 3 years. The no inflation or almost no inflation, it kept going during the early part of this administration, this current administration, but it ended very quickly, and then it went to levels, and so quickly, it went so fast, and it was a shame, and it was all blown up and destroyed, and jobs were lost. A lot of jobs were lost. Our country is doing really badly under them, and nobody wants to talk about it. The media doesn't like talking about it because the Democrats, they really protect themselves. It's pretty amazing. Someday the media is going to become real media instead of fake media, and you're going to see a big difference in the country. Real incomes are down $2,000 a year since she took office. Kamala cast the tie-breaking votes that gave us the worst inflation in American history, costing a typical family $28,000. And under Kamala, we have fallen into manufacturing recession with 13,000 manufacturing jobs lost in the United States since just the start of this year. I don't know if you all know that, but that's what's happened. And it'll happen here, and it'll happen in this plant. It'll happen everywhere if she gets in. If Kamala gets in, the United States will rapidly become a deindustrialized third world nation, like so many others have become. She's running on socialist price controls, banning gas-powered cars and trucks, and private health insurance policies are gone. She wants to defund the police, abolish cash bail. She wants to abolish it immediately, cash bail. She wants to abolish ICE, get rid of the incredible, brave patriots of ICE who take MS-13 gang members, probably the worst gang anywhere in the world. Horrible situation. They take them out, and they take them out bravely. They're strong, they're fierce, and they love our country. She wants to give free health care for millions of illegal aliens and give them all citizenship into the United States immediately. And she then wants to sign them up for Medicare and Social Security. And she wants them to vote illegally if possible. Any way they can vote. They don't care if it's legal or not. And they're signing people up as we speak. They're signing them up as we speak. They don't care. They don't care about the laws. Very simply, Kamala Harris is an economy wrecker and a country destroyer. Our country will be destroyed if she gets in. Her radical liberal agenda ruined San Francisco. It ruined California when she was the Attorney General. It crushed our middle class, demolished our border, set the world on fire, and now she wants to be promoted to the job killer in chief. But much more than job killer, everything else is going to go bad. She set the standard in California. Think of this. If you steal $950 or less, they're going to leave you alone. They can't be bothered. So you see criminals going into stores with a little computer, adding it up, everything they've stolen. They want to stay under the 950, but they don't get prosecuted for above that. The only one that gets prosecuted is somebody who would talk about the unfair election. They get prosecuted. But when you steal and rob and kill and so many other things, when you sell drugs and destroy people's lives, nothing happens to you under Kamala. But we will not let this happen. We're not going to let it happen to our country. 78 days from now, Pennsylvania is going to tell her that we've had enough, that we can't take it anymore. And comrade Kamala Harris, you're fired. Get out. You're not doing the job. Get out. You're fired. While Biden and Harris have been impoverishing our country, they have been getting rich, very rich at your expense. Now, it just came out, just was reported today by a great young reporter, Brooke Singman at Fox, according to a 292-page report from the House Oversight, Judiciary, and Ways and Means Committees in Congress. Just got out a little while ago, just before I got here. I said, no, I want to talk about it just briefly. It's so sad because he's going to be making a speech tonight, and they don't call him Crooked Joe for no reason. They said President Biden engaged in impeachable conduct and said he abused his office and defrauded the United States of America to enrich his family. Republicans revealed that since 2014, the Biden family and its associates received more than $27 million from foreign individuals and entities. They also found that while Biden was serving as vice president, the Biden family got more than $8 million in loans from Democrat benefactors, and they said that those loans have never been repaid. Those are the best kind of loans, aren't they? This report says in part that Vice President Biden actively participated in this conspiracy by, among other things, attending dinners with his family, foreign business partners, and speaking to them by phone, often being placed on speakerphone by Hunter Biden. Republicans are calling out a 2014 dinner that Hunter Biden and his family attended with a Russian oligarch, and they said that after that dinner, that oligarch wired $3.5 million to Hunter Biden's firm very quickly. It was a very quick wiring. I'm sure he worked very hard for the money. Several witnesses testified that Hunter Biden invoked his father in business dealings with Romanian, Chinese, Kazakhstani, and Ukrainian companies, in addition to other companies and people, resulting in millions and millions of dollars flowing into the Biden family. As everybody knows, $3.5 million was sent from the mayor of Moscow, the mayor of Moscow's wife. Remember, I brought that up in the debate I had. I said, why did this happen? And the anchor wouldn't let me ask that question. They thought it was inappropriate, but then it blew up. $3.5 million was sent by the mayor of Moscow's wife to the family. They're also calling out Biden for his handling of classified documents. They said during his tenure as vice president, Joe Biden removed highly sensitive classified documents from the White House despite having no authority to do so. And remember, comrade Kamala, she knew everything, and the senators knew what was going on. And by the way, I had my own classified documents case, and I was totally exonerated. Totally. It was a case brought by Joe Biden and Kamala. She was involved. They did that in order to interfere with the election, and it still goes on, different cases, but that was, according to most, the big one. And we were totally exonerated. The case was won a month ago. Very little coverage of the case being won, I must say. I think that a lot of the media didn't even talk about it. There's no way someone could have stolen that much money without Democrat senators knowing what was going on. He wined and dined them at Joe's houses. They saw his boats. They saw the way he lived. They saw his beautiful mansions. I would have made billions of dollars in this job if I wanted to play that game the way they played it, but instead I took the job very seriously and very importantly. And you can see from the recently announced financial reports, I don't need the money. And I'm proud to announce that doing and being president, I lost billions of dollars. And I knew that would happen. Maybe not quite as much as that, but I'm satisfied with that because we want to make America great again. That's much more important. We have to make America great again. Oh, I could have played it the other way. I could have made so much. I see some of my friends over here. I could have made so much. No, I didn't want to do that. This is too important. This is too big a thing. We've got to save our country because our country is really in big trouble. We're a nation in decline. We're going down the drain. The drain is the swamp that you've heard so much about. They get rich, and in Washington, some of these politicians, what they're doing to our country is disgraceful. But he's one of the leaders of the pack. You have others. The number one step we will take to launch a great American manufacturing renaissance will be to end Kamala Harris's war on American energy. It's a war. And you do know that inflation was caused by her cutback on energy. And then what they did is they, in a panic move, shortly thereafter, when the numbers for gasoline, oil, and electricity and everything else that comes from energy and out of energy, when they started going through the roof, they immediately went back to the Trump plan. But what they didn't go back to is my plan would have been doubled, tripled, and even quadrupled from the numbers I had 4 years ago. They didn't do that. They brought it back to a similar, because they were getting just absolutely destroyed by the numbers that was going up. And you can bet that if we don't win, she takes over, your energy numbers will be triple and quadruple, and you won't be producing a drop of oil. They ended the largest oil reserve anywhere in the world, probably as large as Saudi Arabia. The Saudi Arabia has this massive amount of oil. It's called Anwar in Alaska. They ended it on close to day one. They ended it. Ronald Reagan couldn't get it. No other president got it. I got it. And it's bigger than Russia, bigger than Saudi Arabia, most likely. They seem to think biggest in the world. They've been after getting that approved for many, many decades. Ronald Reagan worked so hard to get it, he couldn't get it. I got it. And then they ended it. They were just set to start drilling. Everything was done. And he came into office. He ended it. On day one, I will tell the frackers and energy workers of Pennsylvania to drill, baby, drill. And she's totally a non-fracker, you know that. Until a few months ago, she said, oh, it's just like on tips. We're not going to tax tips. All of a sudden, she comes out and she says the same thing, exactly the same words that I used months later, and other things. She's like trying to copy my policy, but it takes much more than copying a policy because they're never going to produce it anyway. Our country's going to be in serious trouble. But she was a non-fracker, no fracking under any circumstance. She's like 100 times saying, I will not frack. Look at her debates. There will be no fracking, will be no. Then a few months ago, She said, we'd love to frack. You know, with a politician, they go back to their original thought. There will be no fracking if she's elected in Pennsylvania or anywhere else. You'll have energy that will go up 3, 4, 5 times. You'll be paying $10 a gallon for gasoline and a lot higher than that. Unleashing American energy will reduce prices, launch record-setting economic growth, create millions and millions of jobs, and produce higher wages for the American worker. You can't be a manufacturing powerhouse unless you have low-cost energy. We will have low-cost energy. Electricity rates for a Chinese factory are more than 50% lower than the price of electricity for an American factory. And we were working 4 years ago at really getting it along, and then we were hit with the COVID came in. We focused on that. We did a great job. If we didn't do a great job on that, we would have been in a depression like in 1929, which is where you're heading if she gets in. You're heading for the depression of 1929, that type. That's called the Big League Depression. Since Kamala took office, electricity prices in America up much more than 30% nationwide. And here in Pennsylvania, they're expected to increase by another 30%. They think it's going to be actually unsustainable for your state if she gets in. It's not sustainable. It's not sustainable for the country. That's why I've declared that a top priority for my administration will be to cut the cost of energy in half within the first 12 months of taking office. So we'll cut it in half. I think we'll be able to do better than that. We're going to be cutting it in half, guys. That'll help you a little bit, won't it? And I think we'll do that very quickly. That includes heating, air conditioning, electricity, and gasoline. Your bills will be less than half. When you look at the New England area, they pay some of the highest energy anywhere in the world because they can't put a pipeline in. They've been restricted from putting a pipeline in through a certain section of New York that is desperately wanting it. They need the job so badly. And if they did that in New England, the prices would come down half just with the pipeline alone. They were getting their gasoline and their energy from a place called Russia. Ships would pull up on the East Coast, Russian ships, and that's where New England got it from, and they were paying a big price. And to this day, they're paying the highest prices. But we'll take care of that. We think energy costs, all of it, air conditioning, heating, all of it, including gasoline, will drop by more than 50% within the first 12 months. So remember that. That includes for factories. This will help us quickly defeat inflation and make America affordable again. By contrast, Kamala Harris wants to ban fracking. She supports a national carbon tax, which is a horrible tax that will destroy many businesses, that will have a huge impact on this business, but that will destroy a carbon tax. Nobody even knows what it is. Nobody knows how to calculate it. And she imposed a natural gas export ban, all catastrophic things for Pennsylvania. That means all the income coming in, for the most part, you'll have none of it. You'll lose 500,000 jobs, and you won't have the income coming up. That means Pennsylvania is going to have to pay, your Commonwealth, your beautiful Commonwealth is going to have to pay numbers that nobody ever thought even possible or worth discussion. Kamala is also on a regulatory jihad to shut down power plants all across America. Now, Germany tried it just a couple of years ago, and they ended up getting rid of their political leaders very quickly, and now they're building probably 50 or 60 power plants currently, and they're looking to build a lot more. But they got rid of everything, and they wanted to go to wind and solar and lots of other things. Unfortunately, it didn't work. They couldn't fire up the plants. The plants were closed, and they couldn't get them going. And now they've gone to the other extreme. They've gone back to fossil fuel. I hope clean fossil fuel, clean coal. They do have clean coal. They have coal that actually has to make your electricity. And if you didn't have fossil fuel, you wouldn't have electricity because that's where it comes from originally. And you can have very clean and efficient natural gas. At least 50 existing power plants have closed since she took office, Kamala took office. They're closing them all over the country. They're closing nuclear. They're closing coal. They're closing everything. We're not going to have, that's why in California you have blackouts all the time. They're constant blackouts, and yet they want to go to all electric cars. Let's go to all electric cars, even though we don't have enough electricity to give ourselves some cool and some heat in the summers and the winters. I'm announcing today that when I return to the White House, I will end the anti-American energy crusade and terminate Kamala's so-called power plant rule. It's a disaster for our country. Our country will have no jobs by the time these communists and Marxists get rid of, when they destroy the country, probably can never come back either, just so you understand. Too much competition from other countries that are doing it right. We have a lot of competition out there, not only China, we have a lot of other competition. Instead of shutting down power plants, we will open dozens and dozens more, and they'll happen fast. Kamala stands for energy disappearance and factory obliteration. She will obliterate factories like this. I stand for American energy independence and manufacturing dominance. We're going to be dominant in manufacturing. We're going to be dominant in energy, too, not just getting it to take care of ourselves. We're going to be selling it all over the world. We're going to be reducing our debt. We're going to be lowering your taxes still further. Don't forget, I gave you the largest tax cut in history. We're going to be lowering your taxes still further. Upon taking office, I will do rapid approvals for new energy infrastructure, and we will embrace all forms of energy, including nuclear. Nuclear's a great energy. This plant is making some things that I just got to see, and it's incredible what you've done, what Gary and the family have done, the level of complexity, the level of detail, the power that we're talking about is incredible. To power our country into the future, including the electricity demands of AI and cryptocurrencies, which is a very big subject. It's coming up more and more, and we have to stay at the top. We want to be right at the forefront, otherwise China and other countries will take it over. That's both of them, AI and crypto. We will make a historic commitment to bring in advanced, small, modular nuclear reactors online. Building these massive plants that cost $20 billion and don't even get built like we had recently in a couple of other states. I won't mention the states, but they had 2 plants that got so out of control with cost overruns, massive nuclear plants. Now we're going to do small reactors, small nuclear, we call it. France does that. France does very well with that. They do small, and if they need more, they build a second one, a third one, a fourth one. They hook them up together. With the help of companies like yours, these can be built ultra safe, they're ultra clean, and they're very low cost, but they are absolutely safe. Under Kamala's Green New Scam, billions and billions of taxpayer dollars are being sent to subsidize solar panel factories, windmill factories, battery production, and car production, all based in China. We are subsidizing massive amounts of product for solar, for wind. It's all made in China. Under the Trump administration, we will build American, buy American, and hire American. That's what we're going to be doing. Kamala's economic agenda rewards outsourcers and punishes American workers by making it economically impossible to manufacture in America. What I'm promising today is a total pro-American overhaul of our tax, regulation, and trade systems to promote domestic production and punish those who ship jobs and factories overseas or to places like Mexico, where right now, the head of the United Auto Workers doesn't know this, they're building some of the biggest car factories, just started, anywhere in the world. A person I know builds car factories. That's all he does, build car factories. He said the biggest ones in the world are being right now in Mexico, and they think they're going to bring those cars in, make them in Mexico, bring them in here, and sell them to our people and destroy Detroit and the rest of our car business. They've already taken 30% before I got there. 30%. They did nothing against us when I was there. I told them, if you want to build car factories, you're going to have to pay a 100% tariff to get the car into this country. They immediately said, well, I guess we're not going to build a car factory, right? That's what happened. But now they're building the biggest in the world right in Mexico, and they think they're going to take our car. They're not going to do that if I'm here, because I will be putting massive tariffs on those cars coming across the border, and it won't make any economic sense. So I actually think they should stop building them unless they want to sell those cars to another country. Kamala wants no taxes on Chinese producers. Wants no taxes. What's that all about? While imposing the largest tax hike in the history of our country on factories in the United States. Okay, so she wants a no-tax policy on China, but she wants to tax factories like this and other factories at levels that they've never seen before. Under her plan, manufacturers will pay even higher taxes in America than in communist China. By contrast, I will pass gigantic tax cuts for workers and keep their jobs here in the United States. They're going to stay here. We're going to beat everybody. We're going to beat them like a drum. And we were doing that against China. You know, there was a long time expression that China will take over the world's largest economy. It'll take it over in 2019. Well, in 2019, we were doing so well, 2018, 2017, that China never even came close. We were lapping them. They never came close. And even President Xi said, congratulations. They thought they would be. Long time, this is 15, 20 years ago, they said, 2018, 2019, China will dominate. Nope. We were doing, it would never happen. In fact, I said after we started really doing it, as long as we have smart presidents, they'll never catch us because they can't beat our system. We will have big tax cuts for families and small businesses, and we will have no tax on Social Security and no tax on tips. So they haven't copied Social Security yet, but they will. Don't forget, he's the one that destroyed our seniors with inflation. Inflation has destroyed our seniors. It's the worst thing that could happen. The people that behaved the best, that did it the American way, that saved their money, they got decimated because their money went down, because they couldn't live. They were losing money. With me, they were putting money in the bank and making a lot of money. They were saving a lot of money. After I left, they were losing all of that money they saved. Kamala wants to spend $1.7 trillion in wasteful spending, causing more inflation. And she says it's a mistake to ask her how she's going to pay for it. Please, it's a mistake. She just said it. She just said something that nobody has any idea what she said. But she said it's a mistake to ask how we're paying for it. Kamala Harris can't answer how she'd pay for any of her new radicalized liberal spending schemes that will bankrupt our country and do it quickly, destroy Social Security, destroy Medicare. She has no clue how she pay for $25,000 to every first-time home buyer, including illegals, just like they were going to pay the bills of college students. Unfortunately, that didn't happen and won't happen. They gave up that. The Supreme Court gave it up because it was unfair to all of those people. One of the reasons, all of the people for years and years that paid back their loans, and now we're going to give something free, but it didn't happen. It was just talk. He knew it wouldn't happen too. Crooked Joe, he knew that was not going to happen. No clue how she'd pay for free health care for illegals. She wants to give free health care to illegals. Now, you want to stop people from coming into our country. The first thing you do, and you would have to do this immediately, no health care. We can't do that. We can't afford it. It's not sustainable. But they're doing it just the opposite. Come to America, live the American dream. We'll give your children free schooling. We'll give you free health care. We'll give you pensions. We'll put you into Social Security. This is why people are pouring into our country. And that's a very dangerous, in the caravans, that's a very dangerous trip. Thousands and thousands of people are dying in those caravans coming up to our country. And they're coming up because the promises are being made to them.
Thank you, Dwayne.
That can't be kept. No clue how she'd pay for the $100 trillion, think of that, $100 trillion with a T, dollar Green New Scam. It's a scam. Out of the $100 trillion, there's not $1 of it that would help our country. Not $1 of it. It'll destroy our country. And no clue how she'd pay for the hundreds of billions of dollars in new foreign aid giveaways. We're giving away money at levels that nobody has ever seen before. No other country would do it. No other country would be so stupid to do it. That's why it's so important to vote for Trump to stop the reckless spending and the destruction of our country. We will not have a country left. I will stop the special interest giveaways, cut waste, and restore common sense to our government. The Republican Party is the Republican Party of common sense. That's what it is. Kamala will bury American workers in regulations. I will liberate our workers with the largest regulatory cuts ever recorded. And we've already done some of them, but she put them right back. They put them right back. Repealing every single job-killing regulation of the Biden-Harris administration. The electric vehicle mandate, which is absolutely so crazy, will be gone, and there will be no costly forced transition to all electric cars and trucks. If you want a gasoline-propelled car or a hybrid or an electric car, they're wonderful too. But not all. People need to go longer distances. They want to pay less money because they're fantastic. Electric is everything is great. You have to be able to buy everything. They have a mandate. We don't have enough electricity for ourselves. And now they're talking about putting all the cars on it. Well, it doesn't work because the cars don't go far. If you'd like to go from here to, let's say, Washington to look after we fix the Capitol up and make it safe again, which will take approximately quickly. But after we fix it up, and if you want to drive there, you don't want to stop 5 times. You want to be able to go there, and you want to be able to enjoy it, and you don't want to be mugged or shot or killed in our capital, which has become very unsafe. It's horribly run, graffiti stained, and we're going to fix it very quickly and beautifully. We're going to make it the most beautiful capital anywhere in the world, and we're going to make it totally safe. Police are going to do a great job. Simultaneously, we will modernize our trade policies. The United States has long been taken advantage of by other countries at levels that nobody has any idea. I would sit and look at these trade deals, many of which we renegotiated with Japan, with South Korea, with Canada, Mexico, many. But I'd look at these deals before we did the renegotiation and say, who would make deals like this? I mean, they were either crooked or really stupid, one or the other. Probably crooked for the most part, because I don't think they're stupid. But we had the worst trade deals. No country's ever had trade deals like we had. We fixed many of them, made some of them extraordinary. We lose jobs and revenue. They gain everything. We lose jobs. We lose revenue. They destroy our country. They gain everything. And they wipe out our businesses, which is good for them because then they can supply us with whatever we were making. I stopped it 4 years ago, and I will stop it very quickly again, and we'll be making the product ourselves with our labor. We will not let countries come in, take our jobs, and plunder our nation into poverty. The way they will sell their product in America without having to pay any substantial tariff or tax is to build their factory in America and build their product in America using only American help. And we have the help. Kamala Harris says that a tariff is a tax on American consumers. She's wrong. It's a tax on a foreign producer. It's a tax on a foreign country. And I proved that better than anybody because I took in hundreds of billions of dollars worth of tariffs on different states, on different countries. And out of all of that money, we had no inflation. We had no inflation. It also gives you power over that country. If they want to have wars with somebody, we can say, no, if you do have wars, we're going to raise your tariffs. Oh, sir, we won't have a war. We're okay with it. When we've decided not to go after somebody, you know, one thing a little off this, everybody said, oh, we might have wars with Trump. We had no wars with Trump. First time in 78 years, we had no wars other than I finished some, like ISIS. 100% defeated 100% of the ISIS caliphate. What they did is Afghanistan, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. And none of the generals got fired for the incompetence that they showed. Most embarrassing moment. We would have left with dignity and strength. We would have taken our $85 billion worth of equipment We would have taken our hostages. We lost 13 great people. We had 47 people obliterated, the arms, the legs, the face, obliterated. What a horrible day it was. What an embarrassment. What a horrible day to have death, to have such injuries. Nobody talks about the 47 people that lost their limbs, that will suffer for the rest of their lives. As I've said many times before, as tariffs on foreign countries go up, taxes on American workers and families come down. According to one recent study, a small 10% tariff on foreign-made products will allow massive tax cuts for working families, create more than 3 million American jobs, raise household incomes by 6%. Think of that. And the 6% equates to $4,200 a year for a household and generate almost $1 trillion in economic growth, and it will go very quickly. It will also get rid of a large portion of our deficit because we don't want countries coming in here, stealing our jobs, hurting our country, killing our workers, leaving with everything, and we, as usual, end up with empty factory buildings that are falling down. We end up with nothing. We want tariffs. If somebody wants to come in and take our jobs, if somebody wants to come in and sell us their product that's made in their country, that's okay, but they've got to pay tariffs. They've got to pay a price for that. We're going to bring down your taxes at levels never seen before. We're going to pay off debt of our country, because this country owes $35 trillion, but that rapidly can come down. And remember this, we're sitting on the largest amount of oil and gas. We have, I call it liquid gold. We have more liquid gold than Saudi Arabia. We have more liquid gold than Russia. But we don't use it. We go out and we buy from other countries at ridiculous prices. We buy now from Venezuela. We buy tar. It's not really, it's tar. And you know where we refine it? At a factory. Only one factory in the world can do it because of the nature of it. It's tar. It's not good stuff. It's in Houston, Texas. So all of that, if you're an environmentalist, all of that's going right into the air in our country. We bring in lots of tar, loads of it. We dump it in Houston and they refine it. We have pure stuff. We have the best and we have the most right under our feet. It's liquid gold, and we're going to use it, and we're going to reduce our deficit. We're going to reduce our debt, and we're going to reduce your taxes. We're going to do everything right, and it's going to happen quickly, too. And as we reduce burdens on U.S. manufacturers, our workers can make goods better and cheaper right here in our own country and right here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We don't need lectures on the economy from a candidate pushing communist price controls. Kamala has no idea what the hell she's doing. Her father is a Marxist professor, and I believe he taught her well. You know, he's a Marxist professor. Can you imagine? Does anyone know that? I wonder if they knew that when they did an overthrow or a coup on Joe Biden. I wonder if they knew where she comes from, where she came from, what her ideology is. But you could see it a little bit by this whack job. You know, he said, we're weird. The JD and I are weird. I think we're extremely normal people. Like you, exactly like. He's weird. Did you ever see him go on the stage and go like crazy? It's like between his movement and her laugh, there's a lot of craziness. I'd say a step further than weird. Weird is a nice word by comparison. When I'm president, we're going to do things right. And when I was president, we imposed historic tariffs and prices, and we did it all. We did it all. Prices didn't go up. Everybody said, oh, if you do that, prices. No, the country made less money. That's what happened. Gave us tremendous political leverage over those countries, too, for things having nothing to do with economics. They hurt China, not America. That's why the Biden administration had no choice but to leave them in place. They've left them in place. They wanted to take them off. But so much money comes in from China and other places with the tariffs that I put on that Joe Biden, as much as he wanted to do his friends a favor, couldn't do it. Too much money. You couldn't justify it. There was no way to justify it. In my next term, I will revoke China's most favored nation trade status. It's very unfair. And by the way, I have great respect for President Xi. I think China and the United States will get along well together. I did until COVID came in. That was a step too far. But I had a great relationship with President Xi. I had a great relationship with most of the leaders. I'll pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act so that if China or any other country, it's not just China, the European Union treats us very badly. Nobody knows that, very badly. We have a $250 billion deficit now with the European Union. But if China or the European Union, if any other group of countries or country makes us pay a 100 or 200% tariff or tax, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff or tax of the exact same amount. So it's basically, you hurt us, we hurt you. It's an eye for an eye, and it's common sense. We will ensure that we have 100% domestic American supply chains of all essential goods. Our supply chain has crashed, and you don't write about it now, but it's still crashed. And all you have to do is say, where's the package that was supposed to be here 3 months ago? People aren't getting them. It's very bad what's happened. They've destroyed our supply chain, which is something I didn't think could be done. COVID proved that if we need it in a crisis, then we must be able to make it in America. We want to rely on ourselves. We have no choice. This is really a matter of national security. We will bring back electronic production. We're going to bring up electronics, too. Electronics, we buy everything away. When you see the sophistication of the product I just saw at this place, electronics is peanuts by comparison. But pharmaceutical, too, it's outside of this country, 95%. We're reliant on various other countries. Good countries, nothing wrong, but we want to do it ourselves. They make a tremendous amount of money, and we lose our jobs. And we want to do it ourselves. Mineral production, car production. We're going to bring back the auto industry. We can do that. We can do better than anybody in the world. They've stolen 59% of our car making business. The union, the United Auto Workers, I think the people in that union are going to vote for me overwhelmingly because I'm going to bring car industry back. They are destroying it. When they agree to all electric cars, they're not going to be made in this country. We will be making no cars in this country. And I was the one with South Korea that got the tax put on and extended on the small trucks. And if I didn't have that tax, the most successful product made in this country is the small trucks. If I didn't get that tax, South Korea and China would be destroying us now with additional product. We saved them, so I hope the auto workers are listening because they have a union boss that doesn't have a clue. He doesn't have a clue. It's sad. I wish he did. I don't have to like him. I wish he did, but he doesn't have a clue what he's done to the auto business in allowing this to happen where all of those cars are going to be made in China, and it's going to happen quickly. With the help of companies like this one, we will rebuild our hollowed-out defense industrial base, ensuring that America is never in a situation where we don't have tanks, missiles, the raw materials to fight and win a war. We have to have those. What would happen if we had a war? We won't, with me, but you will have World War III, I believe, without me. But we won't have. But what would happen if we did? And let's say it was with China, but they give us all of our steel. So we'll have to call China for steel so we can fight a war with them. How stupid are these people? Upon taking office, I will invoke the Defense Production Act wherever it's necessary to very quickly ramp up capacity of essential products. And I will stop Japan from buying United States steel. We have a foreign country that wants to purchase one of our greatest, if you go back 70 years, our greatest country, our greatest company by far was United States Steel Corporation. That was the big deal. And now we have Japan buying it. They shouldn't be allowed to buy it. We have to make it work. They have to make it work. You don't want to sell U.S. steel. This is how we will rediscover the industrial heritage of our country. We will reclaim our manufacturing legacy. We will build up glorious American future fueled by Pennsylvania energy. You know, you're one of the largest in this country. You're one of the largest producers in the world. She doesn't know that. You're not going to produce. You're going to go from being one of the largest producers in terms of fracking, the energy produced, into a non-factor. Your state's going to be third world, like much of our country is being made third world by these people. They don't have a clue. But it's going to all be made with pride of the U.S. and with Pennsylvania pride, and strengthened by strong, powerful Pennsylvania steel again. With your vote, we will destroy inflation, bring down prices. And prices are going to come down very substantially, achieve incredible economic growth, make America wealthy again, and we will bring back, most importantly, we're going to bring back a thing called the American dream. The American dream is dead. Right now, the American dream is dead. We're going to bring back the American dream. So vote for Trump on November 5th. We will be the most... Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you to Pennsylvania. You've been the reception coming here with the people outside waving. It was a beautiful sight. The love that they have for what we're trying to do and what we will do. I just leave you with this: vote on November 5th or sooner. November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. We're going to turn our country around. We're going to make America great again. Thank you, everybody. God bless you. God bless Pennsylvania. God bless America. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, Trump spoke for about 50 minutes. Perfect. I like his delivery. This one was policy on point. I don't think you're going to see Kamala Harris be able to do anything like this. There's no way she's going to be able to stand for this period of time and actually be able to talk about anything. They're not going to let her do that. They're just not going to let her come out. This is probably what, I can't remember, but this is probably the first speech that I've seen him do in quite some time. Not a huge rally, a speech. And I think what he's doing at this point is trying to get out in front of people, let him know what he wants to do, keep pushing. And I think a couple of you guys may have hit on exactly why he's doing this. I saw a couple times in the chat, they're saying Fox cut away. They said that Newsmax cut away. And so if these news agencies aren't going to push him, if they're not going to get the word out, it's basically going to be left to people like me and Benny and Right Side Broadcasting to actually keep pushing the message. And as long as he's in the race, and even after, I'm going to keep pushing the message. Until they flip a switch or something and tell me I can't do it, I'm going to keep doing everything I can to push the message. Another thing I saw in the chat quite a bit, and it's been over the last couple times, people have said, why is he talking about Biden? Biden's out of the race. Is he? I'm wondering, and I've got no data to this effect. This is complete supposition right now, what I'm about to say. What if internally he's heard something that a lot of people have been chirping all over, not trusting what the Democrats are doing? Is Biden really done? And I know, absurd as it sounds, I think we'll find, we hope we'll find out in finality today at tonight's speech. But I understand Jill is pissed. I understand Biden is pissed. I think they've got a grudge against this Democrat Party. And right now, Trump may feel that he's in limbo. I don't know. Just kind of weird. He does bring up Biden quite a bit. I mean, there's really no reason to, except if he feels like they're giving him a head fake. I don't know. I really don't know, because at this point, I wouldn't bring up Biden either, except that to make the point that the two of them are tied to the hip. You can't have a Harris without Biden. She is Joe Biden. At this point, they are synonymous, and I think that might be an even bigger point. Let everybody know they are the same person. What I mean by that is everything that you see happening happened under her watch. She is president. She's trying to basically distance herself away from Joe Biden, and he has to keep telling everybody, no, they're the same. Do you know how badly she's trying to get rid of Joe Biden's stank on her? Number one, you can see it tonight. They're sticking Joe on Monday. Joe, you can go up on the stage with Jill and do something on Monday. We don't want you here when the big guns come out. Number two, Steve Doocy was in the arena yesterday, and he said there's something really eerie going on. And what he did was they did a pan of the entire inside of the arena, and the word Biden doesn't show up anywhere. So there may be some redecoration done after tonight to put, Harris Waltz. But as of right now, when they showed the arena, it doesn't say anything about Biden. Like he doesn't exist. He's gone. He poofed, just went away. It's really weird how they're just trying to, oh, that was him. That was that guy, Joe. Never mind the fact that you've been there 3.5 years right with him, where you've got news where you've been saying I've been right with him the whole time. I can't believe there's some Americans that are that stupid, because it doesn't really matter to half of their audience, probably, if not more. They don't care. If today Kamala Harris would get hit by a train, the next person up would get the same sort of reception. I'm telling you, they don't care. As long as it's not Donald Trump, and as long as they can continue to have baby disposals, which are disgusting that they're actually doing that, sacrifice at the Democrat National Convention, drives me absolutely bat-poof crazy that is something, that they are up there snipping and disposing at a political convention. Makes no sense whatsoever. It's disgusting. You couldn't even possibly wrap your arms around it to think, what kind of people want to be around that? I don't even know how twisted your head must be if that is such a priority that you have to bring that big blue RV out there to dispose of babies at a convention. Man, doesn't make any sense. So maybe that's part of it. They just don't want to distance her from Biden, and he has to keep making sure everybody knows they are one and the same. There are so many videos where she said, yeah, I was right there with him the whole time. I was the last person in the room. Well, then you're responsible for what everybody is going through. They are also trying to hypnotize, gaslight, whatever words you want to use, everybody over there on the other side to make sure you get a woman elected as president. You get a black woman or somewhat black woman elected as president. Don't worry about what she's doing. As I showed you in the intro, they are actually now saying you don't need to know what her policy is. She's better than Trump. That's all you need to know. Vote for Kamala. And there's people who are fine with that. Well, we don't care what she does. It's just not Trump. And I'm thinking to myself, where has society gone? Where has it gone wrong? Where people don't care the direction of the country and where it's headed. They're not even paying attention. This morning I spoke to somebody, and this is going to blow you away, because it's projection, it's where things are headed, and nobody's talking about it. This guy is a long hauler, big trucker. And he hauls, and he has been hauling eggs for years. That's his job. He drives eggs across the country. Well, lately, out of nowhere, he's only been getting half loads. And he's like, what's going on? Why am I only getting a half load? And why are you telling me my money's cut because I'm only driving a half load? Well, that's because whatever they did with the chickens, remember a couple months ago, they started killing chickens. And they were telling you that it was the bird flu and things were happening. And we got to kill and burn all these chickens. And then there started being fires at some of these, farms. Well, now, as the saying goes, the chickens have come home to roost. You're going to see, mark my words, in the next couple of weeks, way before the election, eggs are going to be priced out of most people's range. He's expecting that eggs could double or triple within the next month in terms of pricing, especially the extra large version, because the supply, if you know economics, the supply is shrinking and the demand is still up here. So if the supply is smaller than the demand, if economics 101 tells you the price goes up. That's not gouging. If we only have 100 eggs and we got 200 people who want those eggs, it's going to go to the highest bidder, whoever can afford to pay the most for those eggs. That's just eggs. Now think about all of your products. Go into your pantry and open it up and look in there and see how many of the products in your pantry utilize eggs to be made. Bread, cakes, cookies, spaghetti. I'm not a cook. That's just off the top of my head. I'm just thinking, in our pantry, if you open the doors and look in, all those different products that have eggs in them. That's just one product. And can you imagine the domino effect of all these other products that use eggs having to make up for a shortage of eggs? That's not gouging. Hey, listen, we saw in the intro that one guy goes, I like Oreo cookies, and I used to sell them at this price. Now it was $4. Now I got to sell them for $7. Well, I'm pretty sure what goes into that cookie mix is probably egg or some sort of egg product. At which point, now the $7 box of Oreo cookies that used to be $4 are going to be $9. You're going to see this happen before the election. It's no doubt. If the truckers are only bringing half loads to market at this point, that means half the inventory is just evaporated, which means the price, if you half something, then you're probably going to see prices double. And she's not even speaking to it. The only person speaking to it is Trump, and people hate him, and they cut his feed. They don't want to hear it. They don't understand it. I'm going to go to the concert. I'm going to go watch twerking. This is great. Life is fine. Everything's fine until it's not. Until it's too flippin' late. And then, where are you? Well, you're standing in a street in the bread line. Oh, Barry, being melodramatic. I know history. I can just go look at it. Hey, what was going on in Venezuela? Oh, they were fine, making all kinds of money. Oil, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And now they're broke. Actually, the people are, not Maduro. If people don't wake up, if you don't help people wake up, if you don't shake people in their boots and say, go read a flippin' book, go look at history, understand what's going on. Look to the Middle East. I just, while I was watching and cutting back and forth, Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, came out and said, we are going to defend Israel. So there's got to be no ceasefire anytime soon, which means things are going to escalate there, which means the nuts in the streets are going to be even nuttier. Everywhere we turn, it just seems like there's more and more turmoil financially. National security, which the Trump speech, I believe, tomorrow is on national security. Again, it's a speech, not a rally. He's trying to let you know whether or not you want to accept the information, whether or not these trolls in here just are being paid by Kamala's team, which I really, really feel they are, to come in and try to make you a little bit disillusioned. The only disillusionment you should have is what will happen if this man does not get elected. I ran my gold spot. You saw that. I showed you the pricing. And that, when you see that indicated, do I still have that up? Yeah. Let me just, and this isn't even a commercial. I'm just going to this to talk to you about it. When you see gold doing that, there should be red flashing lights going off in your face. I mean, it should be bingo, bingo, warning, warning, danger, danger. People who know what's coming. The only way that stops is if he gets elected. Right now, because people know when the poop hits the fan and we're heading there and nobody wants to pay attention to it and they just want to keep you shielded, and they want to keep you fed and happy with bread and circuses, so you don't notice. So you got Wonder Woman on TV talking about the first woman president. Well, Wonder Woman won't be there to help you. When you can't feed your family, when you can't protect yourself, Wonder Woman is in California, and she's got, basically some gated compound and probably has security. Maybe not, she's not that popular anymore. But nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to help you. It ain't going to happen. Now, I did see a bit of news I wanted to let you know that was pretty interesting that happened as well today. Let me see if I can bring this up pretty quick. And it's very, very, very interesting news, which I don't know if people have been talking about it. But there's, where is it here? If I can find it. Alvin Bragg. Okay, here. This is the tweet. This is what I want to bring up. I want to show you this in case no one has shown you. Just in, this was at 10:55. Don't know if it hit the regular news because they are so slow in talking about things. Just in, District Attorney Alvin Bragg does not oppose Trump's request to delay his sentencing, instead deferring to Justice Judge Merchant. So Trump went into the New York court and said, let's hold off on this September 18th date, because the Supreme Court said, I'm immune on some of these things that you guys inadvertently or on purpose used to get me convicted. They note the new complex effect of the Supreme Court's immunity ruling. And so I'm going to see if you guys can see this. But down here it says, and they go to all the heretofores and wheretofores and all that kind of stuff, but they basically say, hey, if you want to pump the brakes, go ahead and pump the brakes, Judge. It's up to you. Why is that? Well, let me see if I can show you this. Well, I'm showing it now, but I'll read it to you real quick. And it says, given the defense's newly stated position about the Supreme Court immunity, we defer to the court on whether adjournment is warranted. And above that, they talk about, and I don't know why this isn't highlighted, but it says, the question of defendant's immunity from prosecution is not presented. The only question now before the court is whether a small subset of trial evidence was improperly admitted in light of the brand new evidentiary rule that derives from official acts of immunity, and if so, whether any error in admitting official acts evidence was harmless. So basically, we put some stuff in there that's covered under this rule, and it may render the whole thing moot. Because at this point, if that information that you used to get a conviction should never have been used, I don't care if it's an error, I don't care if it was by oversight, but you used that information to get this man convicted, you're sitting on a mistrial, Judge Merchant. Because a conviction doesn't exist if you don't have that evidence. If you can't use that evidence, you don't have a conviction. I wanted to make sure you guys understood that. Judge Merchant they're basically, he's in checkmate. And Alvin Bragg didn't throw him a lifeline. Alvin Bragg said, this is on you, bro. I can't go there. They raised some questions that might be true, and based upon the Supreme Court, I think they got us, but okay, we're not going to oppose it, but it's on you. So now Judge Merchant himself has to look at Trump's motion in the court and Alvin Bragg's response and go, do I still sentence this guy on September 18th, knowing full well this thing is going to get thrown out? Is he going to lay down on the sword, destroy his career and all of his credibility so that the Democrats can continue to call him a convicted felon? Here's my prediction. I'm pretty sure that Judge Merchant will wait until August 23rd, the day after this clown show called the Democrat National Convention, allow them to bash Trump for the next 4 days and call him a convicted felon, And then Friday, about 6 o'clock, he's going to declare it a mistrial. Meanwhile, the entire clown show will be going on 24/7. Every news network, oh, he's a convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon, convicted felon. Take a drink every time you hear the words convicted felon over the next 3 or 4 days. And they know this. We know this. Not sure if you knew it, but now this entire thing's in peril. Now the judge can sit on it until he decides he wants to act. And he could act now, but he's not going to do it. Not when the Democrats have a show lined up for the next 3 or 4 days. So he's probably going to wait until Friday, about 6 o'clock, going into the weekend, and dump it. And at that point, if he declares a mistrial, Trump is no longer a convicted felon. It's gone. Do you think he wants that to happen right now during the Democrat National Convention? Nope, not a chance. He wants them to be able to get on stage for the next 3 or 4 days and say it over and over and over. Do you know who the last day, one of the featured guests in? So you've got Kamala, who's going to close the show, basically. Do you know who's on Thursday night before her? For what reason it could be? Let me be the first person to tell you. The person before her speaking isn't Hillary. She's doing it tomorrow night. Isn't Bill Clinton? Nope, he's Tuesday. Isn't Barack? Nope. The person right before her is a Republican in name only. Adam Kinzinger is talking right before Kamala takes the coronation. Why would that even be something that would be happening? Why would you be putting Adam Kinzinger, whatever, the crying clown, why would you have him speaking right before Kamala? I tell you why, because his time on stage, he is going to do nothing but bash Trump. Next 3 days is not going to be about heralding Kamala. It's not going to be about, I've done such a great job. It's about Trump sucks, Orange Man bad, convicted felon, racist, abuser. That's what their platform is going to be, because they don't have anything else they can talk about. So all they want to do is chum the waters and give these people some red meat and some blood that they know makes these people froth at the mark. He's going to make sure your reproductive rights are taken away. Project 2025. Project 2025. Take your baby thing away. Project 20. And then they're going to close with Adam Kinzinger. So there's no way Judge Merchan is going to rule right now. He's like, I'm going to have to wait. Let me ponder this. Oh, Friday's a good date. Dump it. Mistrial. Done. Over. But the show just went on, and everybody thinks I'm a convicted felon. Sorry, you got to deal with that. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's where we are right now. Weekend dump, drama, typical. That's when they'll do. They'll wait. Beta male Kinzinger. I don't even know how to say the guy's name. Absolutely. Adam Mudslinger. The DNC. You can't laugh at Lizzo anymore. Lizzo at this point is in a fitness program. She got tired of being, called out on social media, and I'm tipping the hat to her right now. I don't care about her music, don't care about her ideology, but she's getting in shape. She's posting videos of her pumping some iron, and I'm like, you go, girl. You understand life is more than just getting out there and singing some songs. You go. The devil is at work, Barry, but God is in control. Absolutely. Well, Barry, what'd you say there? Where'd that one go? Barry, you trying to kill someone? You know that would be alcohol poison. He's talking about Kamala. Thank you very much. Wowza. Leela, thank you very much. All right, so I'm thinking I'm going to get off now because I'm thinking that I may bring in Biden's speech at 8 o'clock or whenever. I've got to find out what time he's speaking. And if he's speaking, I think I'll cover it tonight and we'll just laugh at it. laugh at it, listen to the lies, hear what they all have to say. But thank you for tuning in for the Trump speech. Tomorrow we got another one. Tomorrow it's about national security. And I know some of you guys thought he looked tired, but this is serious business. This isn't getting up there and telling jokes. This is, hey, listen, this is serious. You're not going to survive if this woman gets in, period. If she wants to do what she's openly said, I want to do price gauging. If I want to do price gouging, you're not going to survive. And he understands it. All right, so I'll do some research, see what's going on tonight, and I'll see you tonight one way or the other.